Zak Baruch, good morning, Rabotai. Continuing in Siman Kuf Samach Zayin, in Sif Hey, in Sif Vav, the Shulchan Aruch writes, Yochal miyad. After making the bracha, a person should eat right away, meaning I make the bracha of Hamotzi, right away I should eat. V'lo yasiach ben bracha la'achila. A person shouldn't speak between the blessing and the eating. Ve'im sach. And if he did speak, tzarich lachzor ulevarech, a person needs to make another bracha, which means, for example, if a person make Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz, and then he spoke, you were mafsik between the bracha and the achila, and you have to make another bracha, unless the sicha was b'devarim me'inyan devarim shemarochin alav. For example, if a person, unless the scenario was where a person spoke for something to do with the Suda. For example, let's say he forgot to bring the salt until that point, there's no salt. So he can even, better obviously not to speak, he can motion, but if he cannot, if he even technically speaking, he can speak and say, bring the salt after making the bracha. Obviously it's better to say it before. Like we said, it's a machloket, the Shulchan Aruch is mekel about talking between the netilat yadayim and the hamotzi mikar din, so especially if it's something that's minyan seuda. But let's say a person only realized after he made the bracha, and he needs to speak for something that's regarding the seuda, bring the salt, something like that, and that would be, or for example, there's another halacha, a person is supposed to feed his animals before he feeds himself, and if he didn't feed the animal yet, and he realized right before eating, you can also say give food to the animal, right? And in all those scenarios, in tzarich levarech, you don't need to make a bracha. Obviously, lechatchila, a person shouldn't speak at all. Now the question is, when am I able to begin speaking after making the bracha? After the food entered my mouth, after I swallowed the food. So what's the halacha? The halacha is that lechatchila, a person shouldn't speak until he eats. He doesn't have to eat the whole kezayit, but a little bit of the prusa of the bread that he's eating, and he swallows a bit, right? But b'di'eved, if a person spoke, right, while he was chewing, before he swallowed, midvarim she'eno tzarich hasuda. So the Mishnah Berurah has a tzarich iyun. He doesn't know what's going to be the halacha. It's not so clear, according to the Mishnah Berurah, if you need to make another bracha, if a person didn't swallow it. However, we hold, as long as a person had a hana'ah, even if he didn't swallow it yet, b'di'eved, since the mouth, the palate enjoyed the food, b'di'eved, it's going to be considered, it's going to be fine. That's what all the poskim say, all the Sfaradi poskim say. And therefore, if a person took the food, put it in his mouth, and didn't swallow the food yet, but he tasted the food, the bread or whatever the food was, it doesn't have to do only with bread, it can be with any food, he b'di'eved, and he spoke after that point, he doesn't need to make another bracha. So the only time a person would need to make another bracha, if he spoke before putting it in his mouth. Once the food entered the mouth, then he does not make another bracha, b'di'eved. The chatchila, he should swallow a little bit of whatever he has in his mouth before speaking, as we mentioned.